Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambeau channel. I have some legal updates for you and commentary, actually, and rumors as well. First of all, we did find out that the SEC is now claiming that they did file their appeal against the Judge Torres decision in the SEC v. Ripple case on time. That is what they are claiming. I'll show you exactly what they said. Then there's some additional things worth talking about. I have perspective from a few different attorneys within the XRP community having to do with what the SEC is actually pushing for. And we also now have the rumor, it's an article on your screen here from Unchained, that Gensler's going to get replaced no matter who wins this cycle. So obviously, if Trump wins, I mean, there's some dispute as to what a president can do in terms of firing. If you fire an SEC who doesn't want to leave, there's a virtual certainty that there would be legal challenges. But historically, when there's a new administration coming in, if it's an opposing team, then the SEC chair historically is just left. Like that's what happened with Jay Clayton several years ago when Biden won the presidency. And so the interesting thing here, though, is we already would expect Gensler to be gone if Trump wins. But if we have a President Harris, now there are rumors that Gensler's gone even in that scenario as well. There are rumors from people that apparently are in the know saying, yeah, she wants him out, which I would be all for. I would absolutely be all for. Now, I am skeptical as hell when it comes to anything coming out of that side of the political aisle when it comes to crypto. But hey, if this is something that ended up being true in the event that there is a Harris administration, I would be all for that, okay, unquestionably. So anyway, plenty to cover, but before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. All right, so you may have seen this post multiple times at this point because I've highlighted it and so many others have. It's been seen 704,000 times. It's from Fox Business journalist Eleanor Terrett, and this is from 2 days ago when we were still trying to figure out, hey, SEC, what the hell's going on? Why don't we see a filing from you? And so Eleanor Terrett reached out to the SEC, and a spokesperson said, and this is a quote from the SEC, "The appeal is proceeding normally, and the documents will be filed publicly soon," end quote. And so, of course, if they say will be filed publicly, that would indicate that they've not been filed. And at the time that sentence was uttered, that was at a time that was past the deadline. So if they're saying will be filed, deductive reasoning here, not been filed yet, right? Okay. Well, hang with me though, because it gets more ridiculous. Take a look at this. And we found this out yesterday afternoon. New, in response to my question about what happened with the filing deadline and for an explanation as to the date on the Form C not matching the timestamp, an SEC spokesperson told me, and this is the quote, folks, this is it. "It was filed on time," end quote. That's it. That's it. There's no explanation, nothing. One of the shortest sentences that has ever come out of the SEC. That's it. It was filed on time. Oh, was it? And no supporting details. That's it. Just it was filed on time, and we're supposed to trust you and take your word on it. I mean, if that's true, fine. If there's proof and the court's not gonna dispute that, fine. Why then did you say after the deadline that it will be filed? Will be filed. And just because the word publicly is in there, that doesn't mean anything. So some people are saying, well, yeah, but they filed it, but it wasn't publicly filed. And I'm like, no, that doesn't make logical sense. There's no private filing. When you file it, it is for public consumption. There's no private filing. Don't give me that. There's publicly, no, that's a bad argument. There's nothing to indicate that makes sense to argue. So that's what they said. I don't know. And so the other day, when Eleanor Terrett posted this, she also wrote, listening to attorney James Murphy on Good Morning Crypto this morning, and he said, if the filing hasn't been bounced by now, it probably means it will be accepted by the court. Okay, so there's a chance we never find out the specifics of what went down here, but either way, this is weird. And so before we found that out, I wrote the following. So this is before we knew that the SEC would say it was, at least claim that it was filed on time, which, I mean, I don't know if that's true. The SEC lies. We don't trust the SEC, so I don't have a high level of confidence in pretty much anything that they say. But here was my take on the situation, even before that. I said, I think it's weird no matter what the truth is. And this is a post for me on October 18th at 12:03 a.m. I said, I think it's weird no matter what the truth is. If there was indeed a technical glitch, it's rather strange that the glitch just so happened to occur on the last day the SEC could file Form C. So folks, think about that. If it really is true that something improbable happened, and there was this technical glitch, because mind you, when it comes to the electronic filing system, the point of this is so that you file it and it's just there instantly. We're in the age of information, right? You put something, like when you send an email, it gets sent in real time, right? When you move crypto, unless you're using Bitcoin, like let's say you're using XRP, it's sent in real time, right? You post something on X, it's sent in real time, is it not? What do they have, like a crank start internet? Like what are you talking about here? This does not make any damn sense. So outside of a technical glitch, no, if they posted it, it's live. And that is how the system works. That's why this is so weird. If they really filed it on time, you're telling me, so they were irresponsible, waited till the last minute, and it just so happened to occur at a time when there was some, dodgy, communication on the website, or somebody's internet was down. Something weird happened right at that exact crucial moment. I'm not saying that's impossible, but isn't that quite the coincidence? If so, if there was really some sort of technical hiccup or something like that, because usually that's not what occurs. 99.9% of the time, people upload something and bam, the file's just there and you can see when and the timestamp matches everything. Isn't that a little weird? I think so. And then I wrote, if they filed publicly, note there is no private filing of Form C, then it's weird someone from the SEC told Eleanor Terrett on the morning of the 17th after the deadline that the documents will be filed publicly soon. If the SEC had filed the documents by the deadline, it would make no sense for an SEC rep to say that. If the SEC filed by the deadline, that was indeed their public filing, was it not? So either way, this is weird. And so folks, perhaps we're never going to know. I mean, if there's more information, believe me, I'll make another video about it. I don't know if that's indeed going to be the case. There's also this post from Stuart Alderati, and this is from just last night, and I found this fascinating. He shared this image of a Taylor Swift ticket, and he wrote, "The secondary market for this ticket doesn't make it a security, just like trading crypto doesn't. Not every market is a securities market." Exactly. And that's why this is so absurd on its face, and why Kim Jong-Ginsler is just an absolute disgrace. He's ruling over the SEC and having this agency attack crypto as though it is the case that any market that he so chooses is a securities market. But functionally, what is the difference here? A secondary market, somebody selling on a secondary market a Taylor Swift ticket? And so, and I got a kick out of this one. Paul Graywall, he is the chief legal officer over at Coinbase. He responded to this post and he said, "But Stu, it's not as if Taylor Swift takes steps to enhance the value of the Swiftie ecosystem." Oh, wait. Of course she does. Of course she wants to make the Swiftie ecosystem, if you will, more desirable. Man, that's a term I never thought I'd say on my channel. What is coming of the Moon Lambo channel? But he's got an incredible point there. And so similarly, Ripple doing things that they think is in the best interest of the overall XRP ecosystem, that doesn't make them some sort of common enterprise. Just like a gold mining company, they have a common interest for a healthy gold ecosystem, and if they're mining gold, that doesn't make them a common enterprise, obviously, but still they make these dumbass arguments. And then, so I got additional commentary on this. We were talking the other day about how part of this appeal is actually an attack specifically on Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Larson, which just blew my mind. I didn't even know this was a possibility, but it blew my mind because the SEC literally dropped the charges against Brad and Chris. They gave up on it. But my God, they're such vindictive pricks that during the appeals process, they're coming back for more. I didn't even know that was a possibility, but it turns out it is. So John Deaton's crypto law organization wrote on X, "The SEC dropped the opportunity for a district court trial on the aiding and abetting allegation against Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Larson and now wants to appeal it. That is outrageous." Crypto Insight UK reposted that and said, "This is actually unreal. SEC dropped the case on Brad and Chris and now are appealing that. Is that legal?" And here's what attorney Rispoli had to say. He said, it's possible and legal because the SEC only agreed to voluntarily dismiss the institutional sales claim, not the programmatic sales claim. I never understood why Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Larson's lawyers agreed to that. So I didn't know that. When the charges were dropped, I just thought that it was an SEC thing. I didn't know that. Honestly, this is the first I've seen of this, so I'll take him at his word, of course. But I didn't realize that Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Larson literally had to agree to that. Could they have insisted that no, the charges proceed or something like that? But so part of it was dropped for realsies, and then part of it not for realsies, basically. So the programmatic side not dropped. I'm telling you, I've been following this in depth for years. I never saw one single perspective highlighting this ever before the appeal was dropped. Not once. And so maybe I missed something. I'm not pretending to be all knowing, but I never once saw anybody. Like, you would have thought that would be kind of obvious here. And I'm kind of wondering if this is indeed the case and if this was always a possibility, weren't Brad and Chris made aware of this? I mean, didn't they think that it was probable that the SEC was going to appeal? I just find it surprising. You know, I can't give you answers as to why it went down the way it did, but it's a little strange, isn't it? A lot of this stuff is strange, frankly. But the good news is we're good on the XRP front. In fact, this headline, even from Cointelegraph, which regularly writes untrue and negatively biased stuff about XRP, but look at this headline from yesterday. SEC's Ripple appeal doesn't challenge XRP non-security status. You'll love to see it. Hallelujah! Even the XRP haters acknowledging the truth in this particular instance. No need to read the article, but it is true. Which is also why I was a little surprised to see this post, and I see this from some people even still, concerns about what happens if the SEC is victorious on appeal. What does that mean for us little XRP holders? And so this comes from XRP community member Ashley Prosper, who wrote, despite my overwhelming confidence in the Ripple team, I have thought about what it happens if the SEC ultimately wins on programmatic sales. There's a lot of uncertainty, but the thing I walk away with is that XRP would become so much harder for the average person to obtain, so I'm going to keep stacking for as long as I can. Maybe this is our last opportunity, maybe it's not. I don't take unnecessary risks. So I was left scratching my head, no offense to Ashley Prosper at all, but I was left scratching my head after reading that because I know that that should not be a concern of anybody, quite literally. Even Cointelegraph acknowledges, hey, they're not challenging the legal status of XRP. But in addition to that, they're also not challenging secondary market transactions, not general ones. And so here's my response. I wrote, why would XRP become harder to obtain? The appeal is only about Ripple's XRP sales. In fact, Torres put a footnote in her final judgment that she's not ruling on general secondary market transactions. My friends, that is a matter-of-fact statement. That's not my opinion. That is fact. Torres stated she's not ruling on secondary market transactions, so meaning for people like you and I. Now, if you want to call Ripple's transactions, if they are, if they're selling on a Coinbase or something to that effect, if you want to call it secondary market transactions, fine, but those would still be just Ripple's secondary market transactions, not general secondary market transactions, which is what you and I care about. We are golden, folks. Unless something completely disastrous comes out of left field, and it would probably be bad for crypto on the whole, we're fine. There's nothing to be scared about with XRP on this front. Nothing. Period. That's not my opinion. That's just a matter-of-fact statement. And then we have this. Kamala Harris's team is considering these candidates to replace SEC Chair Gary Gensler. Now, just to be clear, I trust nothing out of that side of the political aisle when it comes to crypto, at least under the current administration, nor under Harris. There are individual Democrats who are pro-crypto, and I give them credit on this channel. Absolutely, when it's relevant and it pops up, I always do, and I'm happy to, because this is not a political channel. That's not what this is about. I'm going to push back against anybody that's anti-crypto, because that's against my interests, and it's against your interests, regardless of where your politics fall. So I'm not going to preach politics to you, other than as it pertains specifically to, excuse me, broadly speaking, finance, the economy, and crypto. Then they're jumping into my territory. So here's a rumor. I'll believe it when I see it, though. But still, I want to report it because if it's true, then maybe we get rid of Gensler either way, no matter what happens in November. Reads as follows. This is from Unchained. The Harris transition team is vetting candidates to replace Gary Gensler as chair of the Securities Exchange Commission, according to two sources close to the deliberations. Unchained has learned of two potential replacements, Georgetown law professor Chris Brummer and chair of the Public Company Accounting Oversight Board, or PCAOB, Erica Williams, who are said to have more favorable views on crypto than Gensler. The vice president hasn't committed to replacing Gensler publicly or privately, and it is uncertain how seriously she is considering Brummer, Williams, or other potential candidates in the mix. Currently, Harris's team is more focused on getting out the vote due to the short time she has been a candidate and other policy issues at stake. Okay, so I'll pause a note here. I've seen nothing from Harris that would make me think that she's pro-crypto or that this would be a priority, which is why I said I'll believe it when I see it. If those circumstances arise where she'd even have the power to do this. But I just want to report on it because, in theory, at least, if this were to pass, maybe that would be good. But I'm very skeptical about the assault on crypto, broadly speaking, slowing down if that side of the aisle wins. I'm very skeptical of that. Anyway, piece continues. It's very unclear who is currently the favorite, one of the sources said. The Harris campaign has concerns that coming out too positively about crypto before the election would lose her votes from the progressive wing that think crypto is a scam and wouldn't gain her actual new swing voters. Brummer did not respond to multiple requests for comment. A spokesperson for PCAOB declined to comment, speaking of Williams' behalf. Okay, if they actually believe that, that is stupid as hell. STOOPID, stupid as hell. There is no voter bloc that will vote against a candidate for being pro-crypto. They don't care. They don't have skin in the game. They may have their opinions, and they have their opinions because they don't know anything about it because they haven't researched it, which is to say they don't care that much. There's no data to indicate they care, and that would swing their vote. That's ridiculous. But there are pro-crypto voters, and you're definitely losing some of them, probably a lot of them. So that makes that's just the bad. What do you think? You're worried about losing them, but you're not worried about losing the pro-crypto people, which actually have skin in the game? Is your brain broken? You've got to be kidding me. How is logic this hard for some people? Oh my God. Let's just hope that we don't have to deal with this. Let's just hope. My God, I don't want to. And if I have to listen to Harris's voice for like 4 to 8 years, oh, so help me God. Oh. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.